Robert, what do you do to maintain recovery? What do you do to manage your OCD and anxiety? To follow on from the audio clip that Nick put in the group. Well, that's a phrase that, of course, gets misunderstood because it's like if you think of somebody who's sober from alcohol after a long period of time, they're in sobriety. If they're in a position where they've decided that alcohol is a very bad road for them and they don't want to go down there anymore, right? They, on a day-to-day basis, if you say, how are you managing your alcoholism? They're like, I'm not even thinking about it. That's like a decision I don't want, and I'm not even having to deal with that, right? That's just completely out of the spectrum of my mind, right? If you ask somebody else on the journey who's like earlier on, or maybe someone battling it longer term, but in a different position, they might say, every day I have to battle with myself not to drink. Well, what happens is when your perspectives change and you build the new, you get into a position where you don't even consider it. It doesn't even feel like you want to go in that direction, right? And that's very much like OCD recovery. OCD recovery, what do I do to stay like this? Nothing. I'm completely fine, neutral, baseline state, no anxiety. Are you worried about anything? No. On a day-to-day basis, do you worry about anything? No. I have concerns. I have to deal with things. I run OCD recovery, so there's a lot of things we have to deal with every day. It's very busy. There's no worries like anxiety, panic. So therefore, you have to ask yourself, well, shouldn't you do mindfulness, Rob, and meditation? Why? I'm not anxious. I'm completely fine. Oh, but don't you need to do those things to sort of maintain it? No, because I'm at a baseline default peace and there's nothing to do with that. Oh, but what happens if you have a setback? Well, for me to get into a setback would take me to start looking at things irrationally and getting very rigid. So I'm quite aware of that. And therefore, there's not really any maintenance that needs to be done. But mid-journey and end journey of it, I had to do a lot to prevent setbacks because I'm feeling okay, but then I was getting back into rigid thinking and irrational thinking. It's important to highlight that because otherwise, like what Nick was saying about podcasts today, modern podcasts, they should sort of ban microphones for most people these days because anyone can pick up a microphone and sort of start speaking complete nonsense. And it's all about managing anxiety and, I have to do deep breathing and meditation and mindfulness every day. That's suffering, okay? It's managing is putting up with suffering and reducing it enough to function. That is not recovery. Oh, but what if the person, Rob, does that and then gets back to a baseline of peace each day? Well, they're not recovered yet. They're doing that to still maintain it, to keep ticking over. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the part of the journey where they are. But we have to make that clear. The OCD recovery journey, you're a journey back to default baseline peace. And you've got to accept, hey, I might not get there, but I'll improve my life enough. That's okay too. Accept that. I had to accept that too. If you get to recovery, which I imagine you will, you get back to baseline peace. That's the goal. Why? Because then you don't feel anxious. There's no suffering. It doesn't even come into my mind suffering, even on a high stress day, even in an angry moment. There's never, no. Aren't you scared, Rob, that you're going to get stuck again? No, not at all. I don't care. Oh my God, what? So you don't care about ever getting stuck, chronically anxious? No, if I do, I'll have to deal with it. But it might feel horrible. Well, I was horrible before and I've been through it. It's not like I'm in a boat about to land on a beach where there's a machine gun going off and killing everyone like in the war. So I'm not in that position. I'd much rather have some anxiety and be at home than that. But Robert, that doesn't take into account my feelings. I'm feeling very bad. It takes into account your feelings very much so. It's pointing out that if you break down your beliefs, then your feelings go back down to a baseline of peace. I never have to think on a day-to-day basis, am I motivated? What am I feeling today? I never think about it. I just get the job done. And then I just do that over and over again. We live in a culture today which is so much about feeling. I feel this, I feel that. I was just walking into a hotel entrance and I saw a woman standing at the reception and she was yelling at the guy working behind the counter. And he's a nice guy, I know him. And she was like, nobody's trying to hold my bag. No one's trying to help me. This should be all happening. All because of the irrational belief, I must be treated fairly. I must be treated like this. And all the panic, all the anger. Now, I could have gone over to her and said, hey, listen, I just want to let you know you're causing a big fuss here. And really, you've got to learn to see that the world doesn't owe you any favors. This man in front of you doesn't owe you any favors. And no one has to hold your bag. But can you imagine how that would have gone down? I could have done it as a shame attack, but I couldn't be bothered. And I wasn't going to do it, obviously. But the point is, when you learn to see that all your emotional discomfort comes from you, right? Every bit of emotional discomfort is going through your perspectives. Yes, you might feel a bit off today, right? That's okay. But strong emotions is coming through those beliefs. And people don't own that. People don't hold themselves accountable and break down those beliefs. And if you do that, then there isn't a problem. Like, I never bring drama to situations. Like, I never go out of my way to think, oh, I'm going to bring loads of drama. I'm going to yell at someone and cause a drama. I have zero interest in drama. I'm only interested in solving problems, getting things done, making life peaceful for me and those around me, and just going along like that. There is never, I need to be heard. I need people to know my feelings. I need to yell and shout. I need to tell this person that I shouldn't be this. No, it's just, how do I get the job done in the shortest way with the least drama? And that is the goal. Because the goal for me, for a better life, is to be able to have peace as well as problem solving done in peace, and the same for others around me. Nobody wants to be angry. Nobody wants to be so stressed. People want things solved. And so when you do that, then life gets better for everything around you. Even when people bring me drama, I'm thinking, how do I diffuse that drama, right? And that's what you want to be thinking. How do I solve problems and diffuse drama around me so I can be a calm person long term? That's the goal.